Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Fox098 here, and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode for you guys here at the Belgian Grand Prix, round number 14 of the season. One of my favourite tracks, if not my favourite track on the F1 calendar, and I'm really looking forward to this weekend, and hopefully we can try and pick up something out of it. But if you guys are new around here, be sure to drop a like on the video if you do enjoy the content that I do produce, and obviously if you're also new around here as well, be sure to click that subscribe button to help me out as we head our way towards 20,000 subscribers. But as you can see then, we're having a look at the pretty much the R&D tree, just seeing where we are in all departments. Power unit, third slowest on the grid. I didn't realise that we dropped that far down, and that was a bit of a concern for me. As you can see, Mercedes there bringing a lot of upgrades to the durability section of the car automatically for us, which is very, very nice. You can see that in terms of the chassis, we are the, I think it's the 8th quickest car, or the 6th, I don't know. We're 4th from bottom, easiest way to put it. So we're okay on that section. We've got a major weight reduction upgrade on the way, so that's going to be good for us. And then over on the aerodynamic section, we're pretty much slap bang in the middle for the aero. So we're doing a very, very nice job of recovering the aerodynamic section that we are on the car. But as you can see, R&D graph, we're pretty much right up there in the middle of the midfield. So yeah, that's very nice to see. But of course, in terms of on-track performances, we are still behind the rest, which is a little bit of a shame. But of course, we will get there with time. Now, as you can see then, we've got a brand new livery for the second half of the season. And as you can see, there is the livery out in force. I decided to ditch the black on the, the white on the car and go with blue, red and black, and then have the white for the decals. I think it looks so much better. It looks more mean, looks more angry, as we are the North Koreans, or Force Korea, should we say. So that's the brand new livery. I've also got a new helmet for this following end of the season. So we will be looking to maybe have some more fun later down the line. And yeah, we're going to crack on. And then you can see it's the new car looking absolutely stunning as we get ready then. So in towards qualifying then. And on our first flying lap now, as we brake heavily in towards the bus stop chicane. Now Hamilton setting the fast lap for 1 minute 41.1. Let's see how close we can get to that. Then as we come towards the start finish line now, we get to a 1:42.8. So yes, very, very far off the pace of Lewis Hamilton, which is fantastic. On to the second flying lap now. You can see here that we're currently a tenth of a second up on our previous best lap. Qualifying is over. We are in P15, so we are safe to go through to Q2, but I didn't want to take the risk of AI's improving if I skip forward through the session. So I decided to actually just do a lap anyway, and just see where I can get up if, you know, if we could make any form of improvements. And we do so. We got P12, which is very, very nice. So, yeah, great job there from ourselves. And there's that marble helmet that we've got rocking and rolling now for the rest of the season, unless I decide to change it. I'll be changing whenever I feel like it. And as you can see then, it was P12 that got us into, just behind the AlphaTauris. You can see there, pretty much from Carlos Sainz in P9, all the way down to the knockout zone of, let's have a look here, Kimi Räikkönen, or in fact, Giovinazzi involved in that. Was only 0.4 of a second, so it was very, very close in there. But yeah, being in P15, we would have got through quite safely, but I needed to take precaution and go for a second flying lap. Speaking of a no flying lap here in Q2 now, I made a very big error, and that was I put as little fuel as you could in the car. But the thing is around Belgium, on your out lap, you actually have to really take care. I didn't, and I completely forgot that Belgium does that to you. So our car went into low fuel mode, and yeah, as we now trundle across the start finish line, the only run that I could do in Q2. And yeah, I made a bit of a mess of that, if I'm honest with you. And we start P16, which is absolutely gutting, because the car is probably good enough to get into the top 12, I think, just like we did in Q1 there. So I was really, really frustrated with that in general. You can see the times were a lot slower in Q2, because a lot of people try to go on the medium tyres for the race. And for me, you know, if I'd set my lap time properly, I probably could have been, you know, in the mix between, you know, the likes of Norris and maybe Albon, or instead I was like 4/10 down on Albon in the middle sector, so maybe not. But yeah, pretty frustrating that I couldn't at least, you know, set a competitive lap time. To start things off then, Claire's going to let us know that we're not starting at the front of the pack, so I'm very glad that she's managed to read the timing screens. So I'm not going to answer her because I can't bother. Next up then is obviously in terms of the performance, if we're happy with it, yay or nay. I am just going to not bother answering her again because I can't be bothered. And of course now she wants to inform me that we've got plenty of work now to do in the factory. Quite frankly, she can get working on her interview skills because they do my heading. As we now have a look at the rivalry there between myself and Alex Albon, 13-15. And then in the team acclaim, it is going to go down slightly because again, the qualifying wasn't too good. But we seem to be able to pick that up in the race. So we're sort of balancing ourselves out in team acclaim as of this moment. But let's get straight into the race.
We're in Belgium once again for today's round of the Formula One World Championship. It's a race the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019, Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since Michael Schumacher in 1992. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track is a great one for fans of pure speed. The average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles an hour. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Why don't we talk about Ferrari? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and Perez, Ricciardo, Sainz, Kvyat, and Esteban Ocon, Stroll, Norris, Pierre Gasly, and Raikkonen, Thomas, Giovinazzi, Jack Aitken, and Roman Grosjean. Magnussen, Russell, Latifi, and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Alright then, so we're on the grid then to start the Belgian Grand Prix, and as you can see, it's actually going to be a one-stop race. I thought it potentially could maybe shift to a two-stopper, but it's an easy one-stop, soft to mediums. I had to look to see maybe if I could do medium-soft and see if that would maybe give me an advantage towards the end of the Grand Prix, but overall, I sort of looked at it, and I couldn't pit any earlier than lap 13, which was a bit dull. And you can see there that we're about 10th shy, so you probably could have done with it, but I just decided to stick with the normal race strategy that they gave me, and I increased the fuel load to allow me to use a little bit on the opening lap then. So here we go then for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. Here we've got 5 red lights, and it is lights out. We go here to start the Belgian Grand Prix off a good start then from the top, guys. They all shift themselves towards the outside of last source. I don't fancy that though. I fancy the inside in towards last source because I can just dive it down the inside on a bunch of cars here. That's exactly what we do, getting crucial places off the start line then as the Mercedes-Benz Joe lead out front. Ricciardo now getting very, very close. Then we actually get to slot in just behind the Renault of Daniel Ricciardo, but in front of Sainz in the McLaren. And already then, after starting in P16, remember, we've literally flown up the order actually, in fact, as we now open up the DRS. Yeah, we've got up into 8th place already. Jeez, we've made loads of places off the start then. I don't think I made that many, but clearly we did. And as you can see, going in towards Le Con for the first time, it is the Mercedes out front with the 2 Ferraris, followed by a Racing Point, probably a Perez, because Stroll is not as quick as him. And then it's the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, who is sitting very, very closely. On to lap 3 of the Grand Prix now, close enough to the back of Ricciardo. We get a bit of dirty and very close on the exit of Stavelot to making a mistake then and going off the track now. Sainz is going to try and take advantage of that. We're going to cover the inside of Blanchimont just to stop him from getting any form of momentum, and that's a very good piece of defending there as we now make our way through to the exit now. As we go towards the bus stop chicane, Sainz very, very close, but not close enough here. Ricciardo now just a little bit ahead, and I had to cover off the bus stop very slightly because Sainz was still very close to the back of my car now. But as we start lap 4 of the Grand Prix, pace was sort of decent, to be honest, actually. It wasn't as bad as I first thought. We're managing to keep up just about with the rest of the drivers, and we're having a decent run at it. So as we now go onto the back straight now for the 4th time in this Grand Prix now, Ricciardo is only half a second up the road. 4/10 now as we gain crucial amounts of time here. Going up last source, not last source, Eau Rouge, and then onto the Kemmel straight now. As you can see here, we've opened up the DRS now to attack Ricciardo. I'm literally using all of my ERS battery now. I need to make an overtake on Daniel. I feel like I've got a bit more pace than him at this stage in the Grand Prix, and I want to try and utilise that. We set the fastest first sector of the race so far, but of course we use the DRS, slipstream, and pretty much all of my ERS to match with that. And we now go up into 7th place then in this Belgian Grand Prix. On to lap 8 now of the Grand Prix, and courtesy of the drivers behind me having a nice little scrap between each other, we were actually able to pull out a nice comfortable 4-second gap. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch up to the top 6 cars though. Perez is coming into the pits with me, and I unfortunately was not able to match them. So we're coming in now, and we're pretty much fighting for low end points. P7, 8, 9, or 10 is around about the region that we're looking at. And as you can see, Perez now, he's out of the way on the medium compound tyres, and that's what we're stopping on to as well. So as you can see, in we come. Medium compound tyres going on, and that is going to be us out and away then in this race. As you can see then, I believe the Haas car of Kevin Magnussen is coming through. He's on medium compound tyres. And then we've got Danny Kvyat in the AlphaTauri, who is going to be 1.3 seconds back. Crucially though, I tried to see if I can get in range of K-Mag for DRS, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. On the exit there, so he's about 1.1 clear. Kvyat is going to get a run on me though here. He's only 6 tenths back actually. On those soft tyres, he may have a little bit of grip left as we now go on to the straight here. I have to deploy a bit of ERS on the straight just to cover myself off, but luckily we've got enough in hand that we don't get phased by him. Luckily for us now, onto the end of the 9th lap now to start lap 10 here. We're now onto the back of Kevin Magnussen, so it turns out that obviously, despite the fact we lost out in the stops in terms of rejoining in front of Kevin Magnussen, we didn't actually lose that much time overall. Magnussen there with a bit of a tank snapper on the exit of La Source, and that's going to give us a great run. And I was really tempted to go for it up Eau Rouge and put a bit of a stellar move in there, you know, but I thought, let's just be patient about this. I'm going to get him on the straight anyway, so, you know, there's nothing really to panic about. K-Mag does deploy some ERS actually, so I decided to deploy my own and counter what he just did, and that is us now breezing past Magnussen, back up into 7th place. Then Perez is 6.5 seconds up the road, but unfortunately the Racing Point has got way more pace than me in his car. So I'm not looking to try and challenge Sergio. I'm looking to probably maintain P7, maybe to have to defend later on in the Grand Prix. It depends on the pace of the others. Speaking of the pace of the others, that's exactly what we've got to do. Skipping all the way to lap 20 of the Grand Prix. It's been a very, very quiet race for me in P7, but now the likes of Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz have finally managed to reel me in. They've been closing in pretty much all stint long, but it's only until now have they really started to deploy an attack here. Here comes Albon now to the outside of the bus stop chicane here, and we have to cover the inside line. Albon goes for it around the outside, but we'll shut that one off. And now I'm going to try and use Sainz as my little mini wingman and allow him to attack. Basically, anytime that Alex Albon's going to go for an overtake, I want Sainz in there so that they can then have a little bit of a scrap, lose themselves a lot of time, maybe like a second and a half, and then that just gives me an extra lap or two where I can save a bit of fuel, save a bit of ERS, and prepare for another defense. You can see here that now to lap 22, they're going to come back at me once again now. As you can see, also the conditions have very much changed, very much overcast now. In this late stage of the Grand Prix. Albon is only 7 tenths back though, so we're our way up towards Eau Rouge. You can see the gap is coming down ever so slowly, so he is using a lot of his ERS. He's only down to half a second now, so he's really using a lot of it here, and I just noticed that. I deploy our ERS though, and actually we covered ourselves off quite nicely. I didn't actually have to use that much at all to defend against him there as we now go in towards Lecon. But look on the mini-map now, you can see the Renault car and the other McLaren car going into combat here, and that's exactly what I wanted to do with Albon, but I couldn't get it done. You can see, look at the time that they're losing now compared to myself and Sainz, and that's the kind of the advantage that we're looking to try and salvage in this Grand Prix. But now I'm really under some big pressure, and I've just got to keep my composure now on the last lap here of the Grand Prix, as Alex Albon is very much trying to put some pressure on here, going towards Pouin, getting onto that curb. You don't really want to go onto that, as it can actually unsettle the car and spin it around now, as Albon here is trying to put on a move, but we're going to hold that one off there as Bottas now wins the Belgian Grand Prix and sets the fastest lap in the process then for Mercedes-Benz. Albon 2 tenths back here as we now try and defend against him and getting a little bit wide on the exit, but we can work with that now, and we've got plenty of ERS, 40% of the battery still remaining, and we've hardly deployed any on this last lap here. Albon is deploying a lot of his ERS as well with me. As you can see, he's still 2.5 tenths back, but we're not really pulling away. Now we're starting to, as he eventually loses out in terms of our overall performance as we go in towards the bus stop chicane then for the final time in this Belgian Grand Prix. It was genuinely a very, very quiet one for us, but luckily it was a quiet Belgian Grand Prix, which results in some points. It's P7 on the road for us today, and I'm satisfied with that. I definitely didn't have the pace to beat the front runners or get near them, even on a power circuit. What was a big concern actually for me was that our engine performance really actually showed in this Grand Prix. We had good top-end speed, but acceleration and just the overall acceleration of the car was actually really, really poor. So yeah, that was something that I needed to, I'm definitely going to have to address now for the latter part of the season. I didn't really think I'd need to make too many engine upgrades, but yeah, we look like we've got a bit of work to do. And oh yeah, check me out, yo, look at my suit. we're not, if we're going to have a race suit, I'm having a proper race suit, alright? Because I'm rich as a forced Korean owner. What do you mean? As Bottas then taking the top step of the podium. But yeah, engine power, big problem. Acceleration, very poor. So I'm definitely going to need to address that quite heavily. There was obviously that major engine upgrade that we can do specifically for engine power. It is now my top priority. I need to get it onto the car. The chassis and the aero, it's still kind of weak. But I need to utilize the engine that we've got in terms of the Mercedes-Benz power unit here. And you can see that our fastest lap of a 145.6 compared to Perez on a 144.8. That's not good enough for me overall. As you can see, Latifi and even my teammate Jack Aiken actually did DNF from the Grand Prix here today, which is a bit of a shame, but, you know, Jack hasn't really done much this season. As you can see now, Mercedes lead the way in the Drivers' Championship. In fact, it's so close between the top four. 8 points covers the top four in the Drivers' Championship. That is so close between all of them. That's really good to see as Hamilton leads Bottas by 3 points. Leclerc and Vettel both 8 points back. In the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes overtake Ferrari now and are 13 points clear in that battle between them two teams. Those two really going at it in this season of my team. In terms of the traffic today, I didn't really have any. I had Ricciardo for a bit, and that was it. So, I was quite happy with everything there. In terms of the expectations, of course, we are exceeding them, which is very nice. But we obviously put an extreme amount of effort and clearly lowered the AI difficulty down to 0% in order to help with that. And as you can see then, in terms of the rivalry, we actually drew with Alex Albon today. We both finished the race, you know, there was some mixtures now. I couldn't actually go for it all, which means it is 18-16. Still very close between myself and Alex. We'll get there. We'll try and beat him, but we've got the Italian Grand Prix next, which maybe could help us out. And then we've got Singapore, which I don't think is going to suit this car at all. But you'll have to wait and see, because I've said other tracks aren't going to suit me, and, you know, they did. But anyway, in terms of our payout, we got a nice $500,000 payout there. And then also 90k. God damn it, Jack, you're getting 10k in deductions for that damage. You can pay for that out of your own wage bill, not ours. As we're now up to 3 million here. And, yeah, making some great inroads. And I believe now we are going to go into the team headquarters and make an upgrade to one of the facilities. Can't remember which one I did. Even if I did, I don't even remember if I did. I can't remember. We'll find out now, shall we? As we load ourselves back into the headquarters then for the final part of the episode where we do a little bit more of the admin work, because there's always plenty of that to do, which tends to bore the living daylights out of most employees when they have to do a bunch of admin stuff. But anyway, let's have a look then. So, our resources coming into play, and we're now up to 1,009 resource points. Heading in towards the Italian Grand Prix. Not really a lot I could do to upgrade, but I am going to definitely go next for the engine power and get that onto the car. I really like having good straight line speed. It helps me a lot, especially when the car is not good in other sections of the track. So yeah, but anyway guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. If you guys have enjoyed this episode, feel free to drop the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well, to help me get towards 20,000 subscribers. And as you can see, we are going to make an upgrade to the quality control for the engine department and help that out. But guys, that is it from me, and I will see you guys next time for the Italian Grand Prix. Take care all, and peace.